So we went live with Suck first, and now we're live everywhere. So everyone will be coming in now. Let's just make sure everyone is getting in. There they are. They're all coming in. You're very welcome to this Think Tank on Friday. So thank Crunchy, it's Friday, right? Although I think day after day after day, I'm wondering what day is today, because
they're all running together.
Aren't they just? Aren't they just? So we're deeply honored to have the wonderful Ciara Derryberry here. She is unlike me and is a tech genius. So she's going to bring you through Adobe Spark today. But before we get into that, Ciara, tell us a little bit about you. So where are you based?
So I'm in Tallahassee, Florida. I have a studio here in downtown Tallahassee, and I focus primarily on commercial advertising, portraiture, and then family and children.
So what got you into photography?
My high school photography teacher and my dad.
Okay. So you had a camera from a young age?
Yeah, my dad gave me a Nikon FE2 when I was 14. Okay. And coincided with a photography class at school. And so I've been doing it ever since.
And you fell in love with the art of photography? I
did. That's all I ever wanted to be.
Okay. And tell us about, so you're also a board director at PPA, right?
Yes, I am on the board for PPA.
You're one of those big important people up there, yeah?
No.
Well, tell us what you do on the board then, or what the board does and its role. And
yeah, well, I think if you guys aren't familiar with Professional Photographers of America, I know we have like a world view of people that are joining us. So PPA is basically an advocacy group, nonprofit organization for photographers. We fight for your rights. We fight for your copyright protections. We're right now trying to help you guys figure out ways to get funding. All the stuff that the federal government is putting out, we have been meticulously going through, not me, the awesome staff at PPA has been meticulously going through and finding out solutions for everybody to, we just want to help everybody be successful. And part of that is through crisis. So that's what we do. We want you to be the best photographers you can be, but we want you to be profitable and successful and sustainable. And that's what we do.
And how many is on the board?
I think there are 10 of us.
Very good.
Could be 12.
And you're elected, right, by councils?
Yeah, we are elected by the membership. So, so I've been on the board. This is my 4th year.
Okay, so you're devil for punishment.
Yes.
That's a saying we have in Ireland. I don't know what it means in America, but devil for punishment is a nice way of saying, I don't know what it's a nice way of saying. It just means a devil for punishment.
Yeah.
But anyway, PPA have done a lot more to help too. So they've opened up their whole library, right, of content, of webinars. Yes. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So previously, prior to all this happening, we have this video library. It's called PPA EDU, and we just launched our new website last month. PPA EDU is thousands of instructional videos from everything from the technical things, shooting, to business marketing, to communicating with your clients. I mean, it's got every subject covered. And previously that was only available to PPA members. But since this crisis has happened, PPA has opened that up to everyone. So you do have to sign up for a free account, but you have access all over the world on ppa.com. to the EDU section of videos. We actually have a new website link that we've set up. It's called ppa.com/inittogether. And anyone can go there, and it has links to the webinars, the videos that we have available to you. All of the government information I was talking about is available there. All of the efforts to get you through this time are on that page. So that's a good starting point if you're trying to figure out where to go.
That is a really, really great gesture by PPA. So I commend the board and all the staff at PPA and the executive and all that for making that great gesture to every photographer across the world.
The least we could do. We want everybody to get through this. We're exactly in it together. It's the great leveler. Everyone's in the same spot. So everyone is kind of just linking arms and trying to figure it out.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about Adobe Spark. So what is it? I thought it was a lighter maybe made by Adobe or no?
No, so Adobe Spark, so if you have Creative Cloud account, which a lot of us do at this point, the monthly service that you get from Adobe, which gives you access to all the different software. So this is a web-based program that you get with your Creative Cloud subscription. So unlike the other things with Creative Cloud where you actually physically download software to your devices, your computer, your iPad, so on, this is a web-based. So if you log into this website, spark.adobe.com, log in with your Adobe ID credentials, you'll have access to this. So a lot of people don't know that this is available to them, but it's basically a very robust graphic design generator for all different types of media, print and digital.
So what do you use it for then in your business?
So I use it primarily for two things. I use it to generate all of my marketing pieces. And I use it it creates one-page websites that are very handy as well. So for example, a lot of my business is headshots and individual headshots. And so I created a website called theheadshotqueen.com. And that goes to a one-page scrolling website with all the information on headshots at my studio. So examples, pricing, and so on and so forth. That's what I send out to clients because I get people, for some reason, headshot inquiries sometimes even come in as text. And it's just, I wanted a very quick and easy way to get the information to them. So I created this one-page scrolling website. So that is a nice feature. I've had one-off little workshops that I've done, and it's been a nice way to create a little, it's not a website that has a bunch of links that you can go all over the place on the website. It's a one-pager website. Okay. It generates a URL and then you can point any domain name to it. So that's what I use it for the web portion of it. But for the graphic design portion, I'm doing everything from Instagram stories, Facebook posts, any marketing pieces that I need to print. I've been able to do that as well on here. Sometimes I just need to throw together like a little collage of some kind, and I do that there too. But I'm going to show you guys how you can not have any knowledge of graphic design and be able to make something that looks pretty decent on this.
So I could even use it, right?
Even Ronan with his, pecking on the keyboard can use it. He's going to be able.
Because I don't know how to use it at all. So my marketing team came back, and because they were away when Think Tank started, they were in Florida on holidays. So they came back, the two of them came back, and they looked and they went, what have you created? And I went, well, what else could I do? I woke up this Friday morning with this idea and went, let's do it. So I had to create it because I had no team to do anything for me. So, so I wish I knew about Adobe Spark before then. Right. Well, let's get you started, Kira. I'm going to disappear and look forward to learning from you. And if there's any questions then that people ask us in the Facebook group or online here, if you don't see them here because you'll be busy doing whatever, I'll come in and ask the questions for them. Okay, you're very welcome, guys. Thank you so much, Kira.
All right, so you want me, I can just flip it over to me. All right. Okay, let's see which desktop it's going to let me share. Hold on one second. Bear with me, guys, while I turn my screen sharing on, which I thought was already turned on. Uh-oh, Ronan, can you pop back on?
Sure, yeah.
Yep. So it's saying that I have to leave the meeting to turn my screen sharing on. I had this turned on already and it's turned itself off.
Okay, let me see now. Can I how do I get to share screen to you? You see, this is where I need my tech team. Hold on.
I think I can do it. I just need to log off real quick. If you can dance for a second, and I can log right back in.
Dance? Oh yeah. Okay. let's try that. Okay.
All right, hang on.
All right.
1 second. Let me try it one more time before I log off. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I think it's going to let me.
Yeah.
Oh, do you see me now?
Yes, we do. We see your screen now. Excellent.
Okay. This is all here, right? Just making sure you guys, because I can't see my Zoom thing now too. Oh.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Kira, in case you're using two screens.
I got you.
The one we see at the moment is the one that has SP up in the corner in a little box and then create project. That's the
great.
screen.
Okay, that's the screen we need to look at. Great,
okay,
perfect.
Good.
Okay, so this is the homepage for spark.adobe.com. So you guys, I don't know how you guys learn best, but for me, I learn best by watching first and then trying to go back and do the project. But if you want to follow along, you can totally go to spark.adobe.com and follow along and try and do some things. The first thing that I want to do is go over what all this stuff means, okay? And then towards the end, I'll actually do some demoing of different projects. Okay, So the nice thing about Adobe Spark is that it has all these templates readily available for you in standardized sizes. So I don't know how many times I've Googled like, what is the dimensions for a Facebook cover photo, or what are the dimensions for an Instagram story? These things are already built in to this. And you can even create custom sizes, okay? So that's just a little place to start across the top. The middle section here is gonna be recent projects that you've worked on. And then the bottom is always going to be an example of templates that you can start from. So remember when I said that you don't have to have any graphic design knowledge to do well at this. The nice thing is you can sort through tons of computer generated templates. You could select any one of these. And of course, right now, this is all very timely stuff, which is what you'll probably usually see on here. So if I go to one of those templates, it's going to pop up with that template, right? And it's going to give me the opportunity to change out images, okay? So I'm going to click through here in a second and show you guys how you can change all these things out. But you see how you can change to different templates right here?
Sorry to interrupt, Kira. Could
Mhm.
I ask you just to make your screen full size? Some people are saying there's only seen part of the screen. So I think if you go full
Is that
screen, that
better?
might fix that. That might fix it for them. Thank you.
Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so I'm going to start over here so everybody can see. Everybody good there? You let me know, Ronan. Okay. Now, the other thing that you can do here that's really cool, we'll go back to that in a second. You can go to brands and you can actually add all of your brand information in here. So for here, this is for my studio. And I've added my logo. I've added the colors for my logo. I've added the fonts that I tend to use. It shows me here that I can start with brand, on brand content. So it's got all kinds of little graphics that I can choose to build from right here. I can also change the colors and the feel. So basically you can, it's called brandifying any of the graphics, and you can, it'll put your logo on it. It'll put your colors on it. It'll put your fonts on it. Does that make sense? And you can change any of that at any time. You can also have multiple brands. So if some of you guys know that me and Mary Fitz Taylor have our podcast, Get Your Shoot Together. And so this is where I have the Get Your Shoot Together media. So this has got our logo and different versions of the logo. This is our color palette that we hear, our fonts that we use. And then if you scroll down, you can kind of see that it's got little examples of how that would look on the different colors, okay? And then I'm gonna try not to go too fast. I'm just giving an overview of where everything is right now, okay? Then if you wanted to go to projects, this is where all the projects that you've been working on will be, okay? So I'm gonna go to a place like headshots. You can create folders where you can sort all this stuff, or you can just let it live out in the open. I've been trying to organize all this stuff because I had previously just been letting everything live out in the open. But you can create folders where you can actually store all this stuff. So this is my folder for my headshot marketing pieces, okay? So I wanted to show you a couple of those. I'm hoping that it's going to click up today. You know what's real fun about this is when you're giving a demo and something doesn't work suddenly. I've never seen it do this before, guys. Hold on.
It always happens to me too, Kira.
I know.
It's
It's
probably the
just
curse of Ronan, I'd say, that you're probably
Ronan, I blame you for doing it. But generally, if I would click on this right now, should just pull up that project. And for some reason right now, it's just dumping everything in the corner, which has never, ever, ever happened before. So let me do this. I'm gonna try and refresh this whole site. And remember, this is web-based. Look, it's nice. It saved it just like that. Okay. Go to projects. We're gonna go to headshots here. Move my face. I'm gonna duplicate a project. So you can take any project that you've done before and you can duplicate it. And when you're duplicating it, basically you're just creating a new copy of it. so that you can edit. And now everyone keep your fingers crossed here that it's not going to crap out on me. Maybe a lot of people are doing Adobe Spark demos right now. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is an example of a previous marketing piece that I made. When the year changed over to 2020, I started a whole new marketing campaign for my headshots and started doing this ditch the selfie and treat yourself headshot campaign. So I was able to go in here, add in my own photography, and also add in stock photography. So Adobe gives you access to free stock photography that you can use in your marketing pieces. There's Adobe stock, which is paid, but then there's also a whole set of free stock photography. So I'm going to move my head over here for you guys. But if I click on this image right here, and you see how it says find free photos right here when I click on here? Then I just typed in selfie because I wanted to find an example of somebody making a duck face. That's what we call it here, Rowan. I don't know if you've seen that pose when people are looking into a camera, into their phone and making a duck face. So I looked for
my
selfie.
daughters try that all the time.
I know, it's very popular. So I wanted to sort of be clever and kind of play on that because I think everybody can see that this looks pretty silly, right? And we want to show like a genuine headshot for somebody. So I went through here, I found a headshot that I thought was going to work. I could also change it to something like this if I wanted to. And then you can play around with the scale of it. I can zoom it in. I can rotate it if I need to. So it's got some very basic tools to be able to modify the images, okay? The other thing it does allow you to do is you can put filters on the image, okay? And in this one, it already has a filter on it. And you can shuffle through these different filters just like so. So there's lots of ways to customize photos past that's the original photo. When I click on none here, that's the original. I can turn it to black and white. I can add contrast to it and variations of that contrast and so forth. So these are things that you can do to enhance the photo if it's not already ready to go. You can also drop this down. You can bring up the brightness of an image. I would recommend though, if you're like, I'm playing with a stock photo here, so I'm not gonna be editing that one beforehand, but if you're putting in your own photography, I would kind of recommend that you get it where it needs to be before you upload it into here. All right. But we'll say that I'm fine with that. Now, there's some very basic tools in here as far as being able to undo. So I can just hit undo, it'll undo the image adjustment and it just goes back in the order. It's not like Photoshop or your other graphic design stuff where you have like a history palette and you can go through and do all that. That's a little more than what Adobe Spark is. Adobe Spark is a very basic graphic design editor, okay? So because of that, it's gonna have very simple tools that you're gonna be able to use. But you see it goes back through all of the versions that I started with, okay? And then if I keep going back far enough, I believe that I'm gonna get back to my original image. There we go, okay? So the other thing you can do here is you can change the layout of these graphics, okay? So you click on layout, and right now we are in this one, which is just 3 blocks. It helps me to visualize these cells as just blocks, okay? If you can think of them that way, that'll help you as you're navigating through these different layouts. But if I wanted to, I could shuffle those blocks and it'll move things around like so. Okay, and keep going back to my undo. And you might be going, well, I don't like the way that lays out, right? I've shuffled it and then it's stuck all of the text over here. Well, that's not a problem. You just grab the text and you move it. Okay, so all of these pieces are just individual. Imagine that you have a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, you've just stuck a bunch of like cut out pieces of your final project. You're just picking up those cut out pieces and you're dropping it onto that piece of paper. And our piece of paper are these blocks, this full sheet, 1, 2, 3. So I just move all these things over. And now you're like, but these are too big and ugly for this space. And I would agree, they are too big and ugly for this space. So I would click on this. And I would drag to size it down, just like so. You could also drag the slider over here, but it's real sensitive. And I think because we're streaming, everything is running a little bit slow, so I apologize all the lag. All right, I can grab this one and I can drag and size it down, just like this. And now it's kind of a pain in the butt if you're trying to, you get everything sized the way you want, but then you realize it's still not quite in the spot that you want it to be in. Well, all you have to do is select the image or select the little block that you want to grab, hold down Command, or on a PC, you'd hold down Control. And now you can select multiple blocks and move them together, okay? You can also change the alignment of stuff like that. All right, click on. And when you're not broadcasting on Facebook, it'll move a lot faster for you. But you can center things horizontally. You can center them to the left, to the right, to the top, which will put it all on top of itself. Okay, and once you put it all on top of itself, you'll have to move them back apart again. Okay, but those are some basic editing tools that you can use here. Okay, let me see if it's going to let us work from an original template though. I mean, from one of their templates. I'm going to move my face off to my other screen if that's okay, just so I have all this. Oh, and then this is very important too. You may have noticed every once in a while it says saving project up here. This auto saves as you go. So there's nothing that you need to do to save as, like in every other software you've ever worked in, there's no saving as, okay? What it does is it saves the file and it calls the file, in this case, this one is my post copy too. It puts my post on everything. You can actually rename the file. So we can say, we're gonna call this Spark Demo 1, okay? And now if I download this file, it is going to save it as sparkdemo1.jpg or sparkdemo1.png, depending on how you export it, okay? I'm gonna go back to where my projects are by clicking up here and see, notice how it's saving my post. So if I were to go and edit any of these, let's see, if I were to go, let me go back to headshots. If I were to go back and edit any of these right now, it's going to edit on that file instead of editing a new thing. So a lot of times I've created something already and I want to use it as a base. So I always recommend, if you don't want to mess up something that you already made, that you go and drop this little 3-dot dealy down and you hit duplicate. And then you can say rename it. And that's going to be its file name.
So Kira, while that's doing that, that helps with brand consistency as well, doesn't it? If you're creating a different one of these for every single client and you're only swapping out the photo, by doing that, you're keeping your brand consistent, that they're all the same. And
absolutely. So one of the nice things about this is, like, I can create one marketing piece and then I can take that and give it 6 different layouts for all the different media it needs to go on. Because generally, if I'm creating a marketing piece, it needs to go out on Instagram stories, which is, you'll see, like, this one is one for Instagram stories, because I can tell that because it's that long and skinny. Okay. This one right here is a Facebook one because of the format. Okay. This one right here might have been for Instagram portrait view, okay, the 4:5 ratio that it's got there. And this is a 1:1 ratio up here. So all of these were to market the same stuff. It was just for the different formats, okay? And so you want to have, when you're creating a campaign and you're trying to put out the same marketing on all these different things, then you want to make sure that you're consistent. And to do that, for me, I've always just duplicated what I've started with and then changed the layout for it. So I'm going to click on this one and see if we can change the layout for a different format. So right now, this one is a 1:1 ratio. Okay. And you see that I also changed to black and white on some of these. Okay. So this was part of the campaign when this stuff started happening. I made a decision to go ahead and donate 10% of all my headshot sessions that I book from now until the end of May is going to go to a local charity to help feed the kids that are out of school right now and otherwise would have been getting food at school. So I went through and I created this piece and I started selling gift cards online just for future stuff. So if you're trying to think of ways that you can still try and book stuff further out, it's always a nice idea to partner with a charity to be able to do that. Okay, so what if I click off into the gray area here, then nothing is selected. I've just clicked over here. And what it's showing me on this side are variations. This would be if I wanted to change what this looked like. It would take all of the content that I already have and it would stick it in one of these templates, okay? I don't want to do that right now. What I want to do is I want to resize it. Resize is different than layout. Remember, when we went to layout, we were able to change the blocks that it lays out in, okay? Resize, what it's going to do right now, it's sized for Instagram, okay? But if I wanted to size this for Facebook, it's going to move things around just a little bit. See how it's moved things around? So now it's in the format for Facebook. Not all of the images that I used are going to be the best layout for that. But I can change things around. I can replace this image if I want to. In this case, what I did is I just created a collage and made it a flat image in the background. Okay, but I can change this image out for something else. So, for example, we're going to go to Spark Demo here. I'm just going to pull a picture of a kiddo in here. All right. So here's the picture I just uploaded. And you see I can move it around. Okay. Now this is formatted now for Facebook. Does that make sense? You could take this block and you can size it down if you'd like to. I put a little square behind it. And we're going to size it down. Now let's say we're ready to download that. Up here in the right-hand corner, you've got a download button. Okay. And you've got options. You can download it as a PNG, you can download it as a JPG, or you can download it as a PDF. I haven't had a super need to download as a PDF, but I would imagine that that's if you were taking it to a printer or trying to get the highest resolution out of it. Usually, even if I'm going to print, I'm just going as a JPG. Often if I'm doing web graphics, I do it as a PNG. Okay.
Here, just a question on that. So you're right, PDF is for printing. I come from a lithographic print background, so we would prefer stuff in a PDF because it goes into the workflow. But to ask the question, Dwayne wants to know about, can you export it as a HTML file for a website? I know you can do websites here, but that's a different interface, is it?
No, so for this right here, you would be exporting this as a PNG graphic, I would recommend, and putting it into your HTML website. I'm going to show you guys the website portion in just a second. There's no exporting anything from Spark into HTML to go host it elsewhere. When you create a website here, it hosts it at Adobe Spark. And so give me a few minutes and I'll get into that. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Great question. Okay, so we're going to start the download. And I apologize, everything is just running a little bit slow. I think everyone in the world is holding webinars now. Let's see. Oh, it downloaded, sorry. It automatically downloaded to my downloads, okay? So if I can move this just for a second, I'll go grab that download so you guys can see it. Okay, so you see, it downloaded the graphic. Now, I can take this directly, I can upload it to Facebook, I could airdrop it to my phone and download it there. If you don't have airdrop, you can email it to yourself, to your phone, post it up on Facebook or Instagram. That's the quick and dirty way to edit on this. I want to show you one more thing before we get into the website stuff, because there's so much more you can do with this, and it's really, it really has a lot of tools that are going to be easy to use for you. All right, so let's go home. And let's go to projects. What I want to do, oh, I know what I was going to show you. Hang on one second. I wanted to show you guys some of the marketing pieces that we did for holiday mini sessions. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this one. Because I want to show you a few more tools to use with the type.
While that's loading there, Kira, there's a question. Are you able to get something from a client, for instance, using a cell phone picture or a Facebook cover page from someone? I'm not sure.
I see the question. Are you able to get something from a client, for instance, using a cell phone picture or Facebook cover? I guess they're asking, are you able to upload images from clients? Yes. Is that what they're asking, do you think?
I think that's probably the question, but they can ask us again if they're not, if that's not the question.
Yeah, clarify that if you wouldn't mind for me, Seraphin. If you're able to upload any image that you have on your computer. Okay, so any image that you have, you're able to use. I did have a client once ask me if I could do a collage like with images that they already had alongside some images that I did for their holiday card, and I was able to do it using this. So as long as you have the high resolution file from the client, you should be able to upload it right in here. I wanted to click on this one because I wanted to show you some of the font tools that you have at your disposal here. So I could change this font to any of the installed fonts that are on here. You can also add your own font. So if you have specific fonts to your brand, a lot of us do, you can upload them here, okay? The other thing you can do here, of course, you can change, the alignment if you want to, the size, the letter spacing, the line spacing. So letter spacing, would have to do with the spacing back and forth between the letters. The line spacing is how close each line is to each other. These are all pretty standard things that you'd see in any word editor. But and you can change the opacity of it. So if you needed to make it transparent, you could also change the order of it. And now this goes for every element that you'll be working with. I could move the order of this around so that it was sitting behind some other elements. So let me find another element to put here. Okay. So if I change this order, if I move the order to the top here, now it's putting the logo that I just put, it's putting it behind it because it's making this the topmost thing. So if you're thinking of these things as stacked up on each other, the order, if you drag it all the way to the top, that makes it the top thing. If you drag it to the bottom, it makes it the bottom thing. And that way the logo shines through it. So that's how you change the order of things to stack. And that's particularly handy when you're adding elements to the background. I'm going to click on effects. And on this now we have different effects that we can add and do to the image. Okay, so there's some different ideas. You can just do none and that takes it back to where we had it. Right now, this has a shape applied to it, but we could take that shape off. We could put a big circle behind it. We could put all kinds of different graphics behind it. It's got a lot of little graphic elements you can play with and move around. Little banners and so on. These things you cannot resize. So, the only thing you can do with it is change the padding on it, but sometimes it doesn't, you can resize the whole thing like this and it'll start changing how it's laid out a little bit, but they're a little bit, depending on what it is, like for example, the circles can get pretty massive if your text doesn't kind of flow into it differently. So if I change the way my text is, but the circle, the padding is all the way down now. So sometimes, you can play around with that, but they're a little bit rigid to an extent. I'm going to go back up right here. I'm going to put this block back on it. Okay. Now you notice how it changed the color. This is where you do that. You go up here, to color, and you can change the color of your font. And it's only applying now to, you see the actual font. But if you want to change what that background is, you just click on the other image, the other color on it. And now I can go and change what that background is. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to show you here is style. So when I go to style, this applies to text, okay? And we're still selected. Remember, we're still selected on this. If I go around this wheel, it starts to give me all kinds of variations on different fonts, different layouts, different ways that the treatments that we've done have applied. And as I keep going around, it gives me new ones. So it's not like when I get back up to the top, it starts over. It just, the more you go around, the more options it's going to give you, okay? And you can say, oh, I like, that's very military. Let's see, I like this one, but I don't like the background on it anymore. No problem. You just go back to shape and you turn it off, okay? And then you're like, well, now I want to see it now that I've turned all that off. And so if you're like hitting a wall with your design and you're just like, I don't know what to do, you can do this. Now, the more you do this, you are varying from your brand. Okay. So, the more you start changing fonts up and everything, you're starting to vary from your brand. So I would, like my brand doesn't have any sort of script like that in it. So it's very unlikely. All of my stuff are sans serif type fonts. So it's very unlikely that I would market with something with a script font like this. Okay, so use your own judgment because there's a lot of freedom you have here and it's got a lot of cool ideas. But when you're making something for your brand, my recommendation is to try and stay on brand. Everything should look like it's cohesive that you put out. Does that make sense, Ronan?
It does, absolutely. Brand
Right.
consistency is really important.
Yes. Okay. Notice up here it says brandify. If I click this button, Brandify, it's gonna color everything purple because my brand is purple. Okay, it's gonna color everything purple and it's gonna change some of the fonts out. Let's see what happens if I do it. So you see how it did that? It changed the color on the fonts to purples. It changed all my fonts to my standard fonts that I use. Okay, I can shuffle that and it'll start changing it in different ways, all within the brand colors and consistency. Now this is holiday colored anyway, because the pictures I'm using are holiday colored, but you'll see that the elements that aren't the images are being swapped around for different variations on color and brand for my brand and font, okay? All right, let's see. Let's go and start something from scratch and cross our fingers that it's gonna cooperate for us. Okay. Let's see, we're going to create a project and let's say we're going to create, let's create a Instagram post and then we'll create a branded graphic. We doing okay on questions from Renan?
Yes, Kira, we have a question all right about creating links for website, call to action, etc. We're in a Spark document. So you wouldn't be doing that here. Would you do that when you build your website?
We would do that with our website. So, you know, we've had a couple of website questions. Let me do this first, and then we're going to tackle website questions because that's a really good question, and absolutely, I'm going to come back to that. So hang tight for just a second, okay?
Great, thank you.
All right, so I am going to click on. I'm going to create from this template. So I just wanted to show an example of using a template and then changing things out for yourself, okay? So I click on this graphic right here and notice that they've cropped the shape, they've done a shape crop here. So you see how it's kind of cropping out the image like that? I'm gonna click on replace up here for the image and it brings me back to the stock photography, but I can upload my own photo, okay? Gosh, slow today, guys. So sorry.
The internet's getting hammered.
It is.
We're all sitting at home watching Netflix.
Totally. But what it's going to do is it's going to upload this graphic for me. And then I can go through and I could brandify this if I wanted to. Okay, up here's our graphic. Come on. It's being so slow, Ronan. I apologize.
It's all right. You control a lot, Kira, but you can't control the internet.
Can't control that, right? All right, let's go back up to the top here. All right, perhaps I need to be on design. Let's see. Yes, I needed to be on design because I was already in the templates. Okay. So I'm going to click on Brandify. And it took all of the content that already existed and it put my brand on it.
Love that. That can save so much time.
Yeah. And so all I got to do now is double click on this and change this to, you know, something like that. And now we have that and we can change the layout of it. We could do it like this. We can change all of this text any way we want to, and we still have the graphic elements that we liked. And notice that it also shoved my logo in there, but it shoved the purple one in there. And probably what's more appropriate is the white one. So when I go and I create my brand, when I uploaded all of my elements, I uploaded a transparent PNG of my logo in my brand color, in black and in white, so that I have it to use wherever I need it. Make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Because you can go and you can add, there's other elements too. Like I create a lot of graphics for different organizations. So like I've added, you know, our logo for Focus, which is our Florida convention. I've added that to graphics before. So you can upload any number of transparent PNGs to put on your graphics, okay? All right, let's get out of this.
There's a question there, Kira, while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Somebody's asked, Jen has asked, can you hi Jen, good to see you. Can you upload more than one of your own images at the same time if you have multiple images in the graphic? So you did that a little earlier, right? So we can do that.
Yeah, you can. You can totally upload more. Let's say we're going to create, let's see, you can totally do that. When you go to upload, I would go to layout. Okay, and see how it created the blocks? I just chose a 3 here. I'm going to go to add photo. Anytime you need to add something, it's in this plus element up here. Okay, and I'm going to upload my photo. Now it's asking me 2 things, pin to background or move freely. I've clicked in this box up here on the right. So if I click pin to background, it's going to pin it inside this cell. Okay. If I click move freely, it's going to make it so I can drag it anywhere on the image. Does that make sense? I'm going to pin it to the background. And now it's pinned it to the background. Okay. And by pinning it to the background, it's pinned it inside this cell. Okay. You can now drag it and move it into this cell if you want to. You can take the scale down to where it needs to be. You can click on this cell and you can upload another image, or you could change the color of the cell. You can add text on top of there or another floaty photo. So let's upload another photo. And let's say we want to do, I'm just grabbing these. And we're going to do move freely.
So Kira, the whole brandify piece, and Steve is asking, can we show that again? That's obviously a really important thing to do up front, right? So
it's important. I would say the first thing, if you've not done anything with Adobe Spark yet, the first thing I would do is go and add your brand. That's on the homepage of the website. It'll have a brand section. I would go and add your logos, your colors, your font selection. You know, it may have the fonts that you use normally, you know, installed already, but if it doesn't, you should be able to install it. This is the move freely element. But yes, I think the first thing that you need to do is go and create your brand. I wanted to show the shape crop because I can change the shape of a floating graphic just like this. And that comes in very handy. And then you can change the opacity of it. Let's go back into crop. You can change the scale of it. And so on.
So Kira, cool. we've had that question under Brandify both on the webinar and on the Facebook page.
Great.
Does it walk you through? Is that a wizard at the beginning that it walks you through?
Yeah, so let's go to that real quick.
Okay.
I say real quick. We'll go as quick as it'll let us. So if you go over here to brands, we can create a brand. And what it wants you to do is upload your logo. Supported formats are JPEG and PNG. I would absolutely recommend uploading a PNG file, a transparent PNG file of your logo. If you upload a JPG, it's going to have, you can't have a transparent background on a JPG file. So it'll probably have a black or a white background or whatever is merged and flattened on the JPG. Does that make sense? That to me is very, very important, because if you don't have a transparent background image for your logo, then you won't be able to float it on top of other elements like colors or graphics. You can also then pick your color. So it only allows you to pick one color to start. So for me, I pick my main brand color. You may have other colors that are associated with your brand, and you'll be able to add those later as secondary pieces, but pick a main brand color. Okay.
So Kira, if I've got a Pantone reference, does it deal with that, or do you know?
If you have a Pantone reference, so what it does is it uses hex values. You could use an RGB value if you want to, but hex values is what is web defined. So what I would usually do is open up the Pantone color in Photoshop, and I would do the color picker, and the color picker will give you your hex value, which is that 6-digit code.
Okay.
Numeric and alpha code. But I haven't played with the RGB. I mean, you know, essentially I just use the hex values. It'll get it pretty darn close. And then you can choose your font, and it'll allow you to scroll through the different fonts available, and also allow you to add your own font. Okay, and that's where it just wants you to upload the OTF file or the TTF file to do that. Let's see what else we can do. Let's see if we can upload a logo here. Let's see, Dropbox. My Dropbox is big, guys, sorry. All right, this is what I mean by the transparent background. You see it's a PNG file and it looks white, the background here, but what it really is transparent and there's nothing behind it. So since there's nothing behind it, you see how it stuck it on top of all of these examples? Just like that, okay? And then I can choose my font. And if I choose for this one, if we choose, I don't know, something wacky like this one, now it's applied that to all of these example graphics, okay? It's just trying to give you a feel for what it's gonna look like with your stuff on it.
That's really cool. I think that's helped a lot of people. Brian is on, and Brian has been spending some of his time learning how to do animation graphics. So he's been on some of the think tanks, and he's got this Star Trek background and all that virtual background.
Yeah, you tell me about it.
He's asking, is there any motion graphics animation capabilities within Spark, or is it only for creating still graphics?
So there's 3 sections that it does. Right now, I think what you're talking about, no. As far as I know. But what it does allow you to do is you can create a project and you can create video with it. The video that you create, right here, it allows you to do a little bit of storyboarding or brainstorming here. You can say the idea is, I don't know, photography or something like that. And it'll start trying to pull in some ideas, but pick a story template or start from scratch. We can promote an idea as the first template, and these are going to create videos with your images that you can create. You can put in text over those videos, and there's some tutorials that you can go through to do that with some quick tips here. But you see how it allows you to add video clips. It allows you to add text, photo, and the icon badge is so that you can create graphics that go over it. So let's say we needed to add a star graphic. Then you can pull up all kinds of different stars that you can put in, okay? But it allows you to create videos in those way, little short videos. I would recommend these for, quick web advertisements if you needed to, create things like that. You can add music. You can add a theme. Of course, it has your brand theme in there, okay? So we can do it to the brand, okay? And we can resize it for widescreen or square use. But I think what Brian's talking about is a little more advanced than what Adobe Spark can do. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a video element here that is a very robust and a cool toy to play with there. But I think it's going to be a little too big for us to go over today. But I want to show also the web capability, that it has the website capability, if everybody's ready to sort of jump to that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just a question while we're doing that. Ruth wants to know, can I use Spark to create blogs? It'd be more the graphic for your blog, right? Your header and your footer.
It doesn't have the capability to blog like WordPress, for example, would, or some of those other websites. It doesn't have a blog content management engine in it. What it has, though, is the ability to make a one-page website. I'm going to show you what that one-page website looks like real quick that I created. And then I'm going to show you where to do that. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this project.
So while you're doing this one page, while you're calling it up, I know you're a woman, so you can do more than one thing at once, unlike me.
I can.
When you say you're creating a web page here, if there's text in there, would that be saved as a graphic, or would the text work for SEO and stuff?
So the text works for SEO. So I'm going to go to this one. This is the website that I created. And you see how it's selectable? It is not part of the graphic.
That's cool, isn't it?
See this? I can have links that link off of it. So this is my headshot website that I was telling you guys about. It's a one page. It scrolls for a long time. Every time the scroll changes, we have calls to action. Choose session time and book now. Choose session time and book now. Do you see that?
Kira,
Okay.
that keeps following you down the page, which is a story brand piece, you know, to make sure that that call to action is never out of your eyesight. So
Yep.
you
That's the
can get
idea.
that to move down with you. Excellent. That's cool.
Yes. Yes, we get that to move down with us as we go. And then we get to the bottom and it does it all again. So that is the website I created. There's not a lot of bells and whistles to this. So like if they go to choose a session time and book now, it takes them to my online booking. Okay, it just takes them off. If they go, they can actually click off and go to my website, I believe from the bottom, and it goes to my main website, okay, where everything is located. But when you go to edit this website, I wanted to answer the question about the URL before we go too much further. Do you see how I have a domain name at the top? So I'm not actually hosting this website. This website lives on the Adobe Spark website. Okay, so when I go to share, this is the editor for it. And just to show you how it works, if I go to publish and share link, it creates a link. And it creates a unique link that is hosted on Adobe Spark. And I went to my hosting provider and I bought a domain name and I pointed that domain name to this shareable link. Does that make sense to you, Ronan? Because I know
Yes, it
you're
does.
less tech, so I wanted to make sure that that made sense. Yeah, so it creates this link. So if I copied and pasted this link into anywhere, into an email, into Facebook, it would take people to the website I created, but it's a real ugly link that's not branded at all, right?
Okay.
So
So
you could create a subdomain and have it point here.
can I create a bit.ly link out of that and it'll still work? Or
Yes, you could create a
okay,
bit.ly link out of it. So
okay,
if you're
okay.
using bit.ly, bit.ly, you can create a much shorter, very nice link about that. It's got some embed options, Facebook links, things like that that you can use here too. But I often just copy the link and then paste it into bit.ly to shorten it. Or like I said, I've wanted this to be a more permanent website. But when I made I had a workshop. And I made a one-page website for my workshop information, and I just created a bit.ly link from that.
So
Exactly.
can I link a one-page website to a different one-page website if I wanted to create, say, an online marketing funnel?
Yes,
I could.
you could.
That
You
is
could.
amazing.
Yes,
Okay.
you could link stuff like this anywhere. I mean, it's just creating the page and it gives you a link and you can take that link and link anything from it. So like this, for example, is a link.
Because
This box.
you know the way we do our marketing funnels training.
Mhm.
So we use different software for that, but the software can be quite expensive. So if I was just getting started, I think what you're telling me is I could have this as my landing page where they download their lead magnet. And
Yep.
then once they click on that, I could bring them to another page. Could I, or would it?
Yes, you can. You just opened a whole new door in my mind. That's why I'm pausing. Like,
I tend to do that with people. I'm sorry.
yeah. Yeah. So you could actually think of these as landing pages, in fact. You know what I mean? Think of all of these Adobe Spark web one page websites that you create. These are all landing pages. So this could be a landing page for a very specific market. And then you could link from here to wherever you wanted them to funnel off to.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do
Okay.
it.
I've learned a lot today. This is great, Kira. Thank you.
Good. Good. And this is a very straightforward designer. You know, you click on pretty much, you create new blocks with these little plus signs and it asks you if you want to put a photo in, text, button, video, photo grid, slideshow, all these things. It doesn't have the ability to embed HTML. So before anyone asks that, sometimes people want to like embed a PayPal button or something like that. You can't embed HTML into this. You know, anything you can't blog from it. So that's one thing too. But if you want to put in text, you want to put in links, edit the text, make boxes, add images, add video, you are totally within your rights to do that. And it's pretty easy to use. Making sense so far?
Yes.
The website portion of it is a whole other tool other than the graphic portion of it. So you could create graphics in the graphic designer and upload them to the web designer if you
Okay.
needed to.
And Adobe are hosting this for you as well, right? So you don't have to worry
Yes.
about hosting and
Yeah. You take advantage of all that. You know, this is a free. I say it's a free. It's paid, I guess, if you think about how you pay for the entire Creative Cloud, right? So,
Okay.
you know, it's just a feature of it, and I think it's just not as well a known feature. You know, people don't realize that they can create one-page websites off of it. They don't realize that they can create all these marketing tools from it, or have templates that they can use to jump off as a jumping off point as well.
So if I'm doing headshots, could I create then an individual website quite easily per client if I wanted to?
Absolutely. If you wanted to, you could have an individual, like a landing page for customers looking for individual headshots. And another page that you could create would be one for companies looking for corporate headshot work. You could, you know, that would be a whole other subject matter, in my opinion.
Yes.
So that would be another landing page for it. If you want, I mean, if you're just looking for, I want a place for somebody to go and take action, this is a great way to create those one-page websites very
Yes.
fast.
Yes. Which
Mm-hmm.
is what we want. We want to direct, because a lot of photographers I see, you know, they drive their traffic that they create to a homepage that might be talking about 10 different services. While here I can create a page then that's just talking about newborn, or just talk if I'm doing multi-genre stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and direct them to there, and then bring them through a funnel that I could create here then to you know, we say you bring them to the landing page to get the basic information, get your lead magnet, leave their email address. Can they leave their email address on this? Can I
Yes.
capture data? They can.
Yes.
And
Well,
then,
what I would, you actually cannot capture data on this because
okay,
there's no back end to
okay,
retrieve the data from. But
okay,
what you could do is not embed the box, but you can have the link for like a mailing list sign up.
okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay. So Pam has a question.
Okay.
So can you link this to a page on your website? So if I've got a separate website.
Yes, absolutely. Let me show you where I did that. So this is my website. Okay. This is not created with Adobe Spark. This is a website created with WordPress. Okay. But as I go down on my website, I believe I link right off to it. Make sense?
Very good.
So if we go to personal headshots, like, you know, book headshots up here, that goes to it as well. So yeah, all you do is you just create the link on your website, whatever your website platform is. If it's, you know, Square, or if it's, I only use WordPress, so I can't ever think of all the other ones. But if it's, you know, any of the other ones that they're out there, you just need to create a link and it links right off to it.
Sure. So just a quick question for you, Kira. Why would you do your headshot website in this, and then your main website is in WordPress? Is there a reason for that?
So I wanted a landing page. You know what I mean? I wanted a standalone landing page. There's not a, you know, I wanted it to be like a link, a URL that I point directly to it. Now, yes, I absolutely could have gone and created a landing page, a separate landing page on my website, and pointed a domain name to it if I wanted to. But I actually liked the way that Adobe Spark gave me this sort of one-page scroll, really easy and simple. And I just, you know, I enjoyed the creating a landing page out of it. I mean, it's really up to you if you wanted to do it straight up from your website and have a different landing page. You
Yeah,
could
well,
do it that way, I suppose.
like the story brand way now is to have a scrolling website, because you don't want people to have to find where information is. So you want
Yes.
your core message about this service all on the one page, that when your client hits it, they can scroll it and take
And if
action.
you notice, like, there's nothing encumbering this landing page with like navigation for the main website and other buttons to click off to other sections of my website, like on family photography and so on. This is specifically for, I get clients that just find me because of headshots. I get, you know, Google search engine results just because of headshots. And they're not really interested in going and seeing all my family photography when they're here to get a new portrait for LinkedIn. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And that's what Story Brand is all about. It's about keeping, we call this prime real estate up the top, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
the eye looks in a Z or a Z, depending which part of the world you're
Mm-hmm.
in.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep that prime real estate just for your direct call to action, and then also for your indirect call to action. So your indirect call to action, for example, is your lead magnet if you're capturing data on that landing page as well, which of course you should be doing.
That makes
So
sense.
we've a couple of more questions for you, Kira.
Yeah.
Do we have the rights to the music for the video and website just by having Adobe Spark?
It's music that's included with Adobe Spark. So a lot, like, you know how YouTube has a library of music that you can choose from to use and their video, like if you do any YouTube video creation, they have a library of music that you're able to use. Adobe Spark also has a library of music that you're able to use.
Great. So does the Adobe Photographer subscription include full features for Spark? Can I use Spark if I've got the Photographer subscription? Do you know?
That's a good question. Just check. I don't know. I think so. I'm pretty sure it comes with all accounts, but I would just go to spark.adobe.com and put in your login credentials and see if it'll log you in. I guess you'll find out real quick if it doesn't. But I think so. I have the full version, but I haven't checked that out yet.
Okay. Somebody here says Kira for president. Tony Corbell, of course. Yes.
Oh, thanks,
Kira
Tony.
for president. Amy asked then, I downloaded a file I created and I can't choose it to upload to Facebook. I can't select it. We don't know, Amy, if you can see it and just not select it, or
I mean, I don't know, Amy. If you downloaded it onto your computer and you go and try and upload it to Facebook and it doesn't let you select it, did you accidentally download it as like a PDF? Or because it sounds like if you see the file but it won't let you select it, that the file isn't compatible with Facebook.
Yeah, because Facebook likes, I'm trying to remember what it likes now.
JPEG
like
and PNG.
JPEG and PNG. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, Amy. I'm sorry, but try downloading the file again and make sure you download it as a PNG, and then make sure when you go to upload that you're uploading that latest file.
So Brian says Adobe Spark is free even if you don't have an Adobe account, but there's no branding capability within that. You have to have.
That's good. I forgot about that. Yeah. So if there is a free version that you can get, and the free version doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It doesn't see how all these little layouts here have a little yellow tab on them. Those are premium ones for the paid account only.
Okay.
Paid with it.
Kevin Jones has just confirmed that I've just tried it with only the photographer package and it is included. So that's good news.
Fantastic. So that's fantastic. There are other, before I forget, there is also an app in the App Store that you can download, I believe, for both platforms, for your devices, for your phone, for your iPad. So you can create graphics directly from your phone. You just log in with your Adobe account once you have the app. And then it saves directly to your phone. Any projects that you were working on, graphic projects, all of this lives in the cloud. So when you log into your account onto your app, it'll have access to everything that you've created. So I know I've been in an airport before trying to quickly get some graphic out in between flights, and I was able to log into the app on my phone, get the graphic, edit it a little bit on the phone, and then upload it from my phone. So that's a really handy, convenient thing if you're on the go and you're using multiple computers or using your iPad and your phone. It all lives in one spot and it accesses it.
That is absolutely amazing, Kira. Have you anything else that you want to share with everybody before we call it a wrap?
I feel like we could spend a lot, individual times just making, branded graphics, just making websites, just and so on. So I would encourage you guys, there's a lot to do here, but I think you'll learn it quickly because everything is drag and drop. So I would encourage you all to spend some of this time that we have logging on, creating your brand, and then going and just playing around with creating different graphics, either from scratch, or going through the templates that they have and selecting those and then modifying those templates. It takes a little practice, but I think it's actually a lot easier to learn than a full, robust graphic design software. I think you'll get the hang of it a lot faster.
And then maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we can do another one depending on the questions we've had, and we can go into more detail in one particular area.
If you guys want to look at a particular area, I guess just let Rona know. We can always come back. We can come back and do a website one, maybe, or landing page one, that goes along with StoryBrand. That's an idea. Or we can just go over creating branded graphics some more if you'd like.
That'd be brilliant. Kira, thank you so much again. Absolutely amazing information. The chat has been hopping more than I've seen on any other project we've done. So thank you so much. You've brought so much of great new information to the think tank. Thank you so much.
Oh, you guys are welcome. And thank you guys for participating and watching. And I hope it's helpful and gives you something to work on right now. To me, this is the right time to be doing those things, is getting things like this ready for your business as things bounce back, which they will. We'll have all these pieces that we can just unleash on the world, and it'll be great.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much again, Kira. Thank you for joining us, folks. On Monday, wait till I remind myself. Oh, yes, on Monday, we have Janine and Marnie going into some more detail on some of the stuff they're doing. So Janine has her scavenger hunt, and she's even going to share all the graphics with you that you can literally take it, add your brand to it, and use it. And she's had massive response. And Marnie has also been doing a lot of community stuff. She's going to share with you exactly how she approached and set up to do the reading of the books to children and all that. So that'll be really cool on Monday. On Tuesday, we have our social media team back with us, with Brian and his team. On Wednesday, we have Tony Corbell with the first think tank with the commercial photographer outlook. On Thursday, we have Ellie Cassidy and the newborn team. So again, a new group looking at newborn. And then on Friday, Mary Fitz-Taylor is going to do an interview with a sales and marketing expert who she's not telling us who it is right now, but you can be sure it'll be really, really good.
It'll be a good one.
So guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday. If you have any suggestions or any questions, or you want to see anything in the think tank, please just message us or put it into the group and we'll be happy to bring that to you. Once again, thank you so much, Kira. It's now wine o'clock time in Ireland because it's 6 p.m. So I'm off to have a glass of wine and my dinner. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you,
Take
guys.
care. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.